There's one trouble with that suit.
Yeah. I don't care if my legs don't touch the ground. I just like to have my back right on the...
You want to say your names, just in case there is anyone who doesn't know someone?
Jane.
Kathy. Tony.
Carl.
Kieran.
Justin. Robin.
Terry.
And Bob. And Kat. Okay, so I wasn't allowed to even offer Bob to start it. He says, you kick it off without even asking me. But we'll see. I'll be asking. Anyway, yeah, so non-duality. What else can we say about it that we didn't say before? It's about the one essence that is appearing as more than one, appearing as multitude of different forms and patterns and shapes and sounds and sights and smells and everything else. So it is basically just one. It's the idea that there is more than one is the duality. So even saying that there is a screen, like basic screen or emptiness or silence, and in that emptiness or screen or silence there are sounds and other things appearing, is actually a duality. Because the screen and the content are not separate, they're made of the same essence. They're basically different aspect of it. Like we are talking about static aspect and dynamic aspect. So static aspect is called Shiva or emptiness or cognizing emptiness or just space, silence, awareness, consciousness, God, whatever. And the dynamic aspect is the way it expresses. So dynamic aspect is Shakti, which is the movement. In the stillness, there is a movement. Or it's not really in the stillness movement, the stillness moves, or the silence sounds, or the emptiness forms. The emptiness, it is the form. So it basically just appears through the different, that's the easy way to demonstrate it, different frequency of the vibration. It appears as the other. So the same essence, the same one substance, whatever in the human range, from 4 to 40 kilohertz or whatever, it appears as a sound. And then it appears as a light, or it appears as the particle that constructs matter, or it appears as thought, which is really much subtler than the sound, but it's still a vibration, it's still the movement. So when we see the world this way, that it is just a different, like Bob sometimes uses the analogy of the water, different condensation, like you can freeze the water and become solid, or you can evaporate the water and become steam. So it is really all the water just showing up in a different aspects of itself. So the whole appearance is made of that emptiness, intelligent, cognizing emptiness that is showing itself as different vibrations, as the body, because that's the conglomerate, the whole society of different vibrations, bacteria or whatever, and as whatever is appearing, and the body can cognize it through the senses. So this is all basically one and the same essence. Now, how to realize it practically? Very easily. Just is really enough to stop thinking, going to the head, and it doesn't mean to stop it permanently. It's just to stop it for a moment, to realize that the thinking is dividing everything. The labeling is dividing everything. Naming it and perceiving it as other gives it the reality. It's like almost like believing in it gives it a reality. Same way as when humanity believed that Earth was flat or the sun was moving around it. That very belief created the experience, and unless it was challenged, it was the truth. It was unquestionable truth. Nobody even looked to question it. In the same way, children believe in Santa Claus or monsters under the bed or other stuff, and it appears real. You want to say something?
Oh, go on. Keep going.
Give me false hopes again. The same way we believe that there is someone there inside the body, or that I am identical to the body, that body is what I am. The same way this belief has been adopted, and when I believe that fully, this becomes a reality. So now I live my life from the assumption that there is a me there that is different and separated from the rest of the world. And because it is separate and the world is outside, the world is threatening. So now I have to look after myself, I have to protect myself, defend myself, make sure everybody likes me, or make sure I have enough for tomorrow, because it comes in the package with future, with all the fears, with all the anxieties. It comes with the package with all the past, the conditioning, because to believe that I'm the body is really not enough to sustain the illusion. Illusion is fed with the belief and is embellished with all the stories that happen to me, and is enhanced with all the conditioning, and so it grows to such a beautiful, believable story that nobody questions it. Until now, the whole humanity, I don't know how many billions of people right now, hardly anybody ever questions it, and that's fine. That's how life expresses. That's how it is. But you find yourself here, perhaps because you can, or you want, or you will, or you do question it. So questioning the idea of separation, of the idea that there is somebody inside that is separate from the world, that is something different than that vibrating pattern of energy that creates every shape, every form, and every appearance, everything that appears. And there is something that is different than that everything. If that one essence, that one emptiness is a substance of every form, how could there be anything that is different or separate? How there could be anything inside or outside the body or anywhere that wouldn't be the same thing? And if it is the same thing, there is no problem, because the same emptiness constructs the body and someone inside, if I believe there is someone inside, and everybody else also. So there is no separation. I am that essence. If I'm that essence, I'm invulnerable. Body can be destroyed, but I'm the essence. I'm still there in the destroyed body or in any other bodies. But this is not the case usually. The case is that I'm inside, or I am the body, and I can be destroyed, and I am vulnerable, and I am inferior, and I am unworthy. And now my life is a misery, is hell. And I was told by somebody else that there is a possibility of attaining eternal bliss and being free from suffering. And now I create the imagination about it. Okay, that is what I want. I want eternal bliss. I want a pleasure that never ends. I want 100 orgasms and light, and have supernatural powers and be the greatest. And that's where the search starts. We are looking for something that we believe is real. That's usually how it begins. We believe that there is an enlightenment that I can get, and then I will be all light, and I will be all love, and everybody will bow down to my feet, and I will be in a state of ecstasy and pleasure all the time. So now the search may take 20, 30, 40 years. It may take 5 years, doesn't matter. But this search makes no sense, because what we are searching at this point, we are searching for the imaginary picture. Somebody told us that there is a possibility of attaining such a bliss or cosmic union or something like that. And we imagine what it means, and we start searching for it. So obviously whatever we find, and it doesn't fit to our imagination, is being discarded. If somebody tells you, yeah, there's no self, yes, so what, doesn't matter, I want my bliss. Or maybe someone tells you, you are already that, yeah, whatever, but where is the bliss? So unless the waking up process will not start from questioning the dream, questioning the idea of gaining or getting something that is blissful, something that is not there right now, the search will be very, very long and very, very painful, possibly never ending. So waking up from the idea that there is something to find, waking up from the idea that there is someone who can find it, is the beginning. This is only the first step. When I start questioning, is there really such a thing as eternal bliss? And that's pretty logical, because if there was anything like eternal pleasure, we would see that. We would see that in animals. We would see that in so-called enlightened, like how blissful was Jesus when he says, "Why, you Father, why have you forsaken me?" How blissful was Nisargadatta dying of cancer. So if we didn't see it, and there is still a belief somewhere there that there is such a thing, and I will never rest unless I find it, well, good luck. Have fun with that. But the beginning is from waking up from the idea that there is an enlightenment, that there is a state that I will attain or get, and then waking up from the idea that there is someone who can actually get it. It can go in the reverse order. It would be even better if it goes in the reverse order, because if there is nobody there, who cares whether union, mystical union, bliss, ecstasy, enlightenment, or anything like that exists? If the one who wants, who desires that pleasure for himself or herself, if that one is questioned and realized to be just a bundle of thoughts, just a belief in entity, and that conceptual image that I call me, wanting, desiring money or enlightenment, doesn't matter, there's no difference. If there is me who is desiring something that is not there, that me, when it's questioned, obviously drops off, and the desire doesn't really matter. If there is still a desire, well, whatever, that is a desire. It's not my desire. It plays up, it's just a bundle of vibrations or sensations showing up on the screen. So questioning the identity, this is the way out. And again, it sounds ridiculous when I say way out, because there is no way out. The one who is to find something or to question something, the person, cannot get out of itself. It is totally fucked. There is no hope for them, for the person. But there is an awareness of the person. The person, however, whichever way it appears on the screen, is being known. So that principle of knowing, the knowingness or the awareness of whatever appears, is prior to the appearance. So there is a being, and I don't mean prior I don't mean it as time, as something that happened before, because there is no before. It's just this moment right now. It doesn't have any prior moment. If it does, it means that prior moment has actually been imagined into this moment right now. So prior, I mean as an illustration of something that is underlying or is a primary cause, or it happens. It's just like you have the movie playing on the screen. The prerequisite for the movie to play is the screen. It doesn't mean that the screen appears prior. If they appear simultaneously. But the screen is somehow primary to the appearance. The same way, if there is an individual or the ego or personal self playing out, there is an awareness of that. That awareness is a screen. Awareness, knowingness is a screen. Awareness is not a thing. It doesn't exist as an object. It cannot be found by the mind, because it is the knowingness, cognizing emptiness. It is the principle of knowing. Like everything that ever appears to every one of us is somehow cognized, is known. Like the seeing is known. The being is known. The whatever the each other or objects in the room, they are known, but there is the principle of knowing, the knowingness, the sensations that are also known. If they're not known, they out of the awareness, they don't really appear. So the knowing is actually is identical with being. If something has the being, it is being known. That's why they call it Sat Chit Ananda. It is being and known. It has the existence, which is already known. And now the bliss comes into the picture, Ananda. Sat is consciousness. Sat is being. The Chit is knowing. And Ananda is bliss or joy or happiness or loving to be. So that bliss is not complete illusion. It is illusion as a thing to be attained, but it's not complete illusion when the awareness of being comes to the foreground and it is completely unobscured by any of the stories. When the awareness of being is the only thing there is, it is absolutely blissful. But because you can't actually hold it unless you, I don't know, in a deep meditation, it's not even worthy of holding it, because that's not the point. The whole manifestation shown up and is playing out for the love and appreciation of the other, of experiencing itself as the other, because there is no other way to wake up if you don't dream to be the other first. But the bliss of being Satchitananda, the existence of myself as much as existence of everything else, and the awareness of that existence is the natural state. So we all know that we exist. We all are aware of the existence. And this is home. This is the place that we start. From here, we can actually realize what obscures it. Okay, there is existence of being, but there is so many other things, there is so many other important things, like making money or looking after the health or relationship. Yeah, sure, they are. They're relatively important things playing out on the screen. But if the awareness of being is completely forgotten, these thoughts will steal the show, and it will take us for a ride. And because they're dualistic, there will be always pain in it. Even if there are the most beautiful, pleasurable stories going on, the wonderful relationship, the great money, now this will have the flip side of the coin, because it is here now. But what the guarantee is that it will be here tomorrow? There is none. So there will be fear. With every joy will be fear. With every pleasure there will be pain. So basically, if we go to conceptualizing, to the world made of concepts, stories and thoughts in the head, awareness of being is completely unnoticed or is not being acknowledged. This place that is actually here now always and for granted and forever, this place that is like home, that is more intimate than any of the stories could ever be, because stories are all belief-based. My identity, my story, my relationships, my jobs, they're all based in language, so they are really all just stories, just beliefs. While the consciousness of my own existence is completely apart from anything that I've ever learned. It is not something that I acquired from some other people. It is not something I've been told. This is my direct experience, and this is my only direct experience, because everything else is brainwashed. Everything else is being learned and acquired. So this direct experience is the starting point, and this is the end point also. This is where I'm starting the investigation to see. This is the base or source of everything. And that source can be known directly, and it is known directly right now, and it is known directly always. At any point, when you ask yourself whether you exist, you say, yeah, sure, I do. Are you aware of that existence? Of course. And that's it. This is the base, this is the source. Now, that awareness doesn't really abide there in the existence. The attention doesn't stay with the awareness of existence. Attention is attracted to the dream, to the illusion, to all the manifestation. And that's okay. But it's much, much easier if that movement of attention is also acknowledged or is being known, is being witnessed. It's wonderful to see, actually. This is the pattern that was shaped and formed by the life, by that intelligence or that awareness. And this pattern has certain preferences. It has certain attractions. It is attracted to smell of the roses and not smell of the farts, whatever. And it has, and I don't really know it that well. Now, if that one is moving spontaneously, moving around the life, and that movement and that patterns, personality patterns, likes, dislikes, attractions, repulsions are being cognized, are being known, now this is totally impersonal. Now I am the awareness, and whatever the body is doing, the body is doing. And I'm looking at it with curiosity, just like watching a good movie. And if something happens to this pattern of personality, somebody slaps it in the face or somebody abuses it or whatever, it's still impersonal. It doesn't mean there won't be a response which would be defensive, because of course, animals defend their own bodies also. That's the instinct that is actually already ingrained in the whole pattern. But it can also be cognized. It can also be watched with the curiosity as the impersonal happening. And it's quite fascinating to be able to view the world from that impersonal perspective that is not engaged and is not filtered and is not biased by self-obsession, by that it is all about me, that I'm the important one and everything is about my story, how people look at me, what people think of me, and what is going to happen to me. Because this is just one of the appearances. And to getting to know this pattern from the perspective which is not self-obsessed and not personal is great fun. And apart from that, is free from suffering. And apart from that, it brings the life back to itself. It expands, and it has this spaciousness to it. It has this deep breath of fresh air to it. So how to go about it is basically to look what I think myself to be. What do I think I am? And if you have any ideas or you have any concepts of what you think you are, please tell us what could you possibly be if you think you are a thing, if you think you are an object, or if you think you are a body or the mind or a person. What is it? Like looking really deeply into it. What is that me? And see what that, not only what is it, but how do I know it? Who told me that? How did I end up with that realization or that conclusion that this is what the me is? Because by doing it, by analyzing this idea of me, you are already the awareness of it. You're already viewing it as a content in the awareness. So looking at it, it seems like, yeah, but this is another way of being self-obsessed. Why all about me? Yeah, but this me is not who is looking anymore. The one who is looking is interested in something that appears on the screen. So even though it seems like I'm looking at me, I'm not really looking at me. I'm looking at the content of awareness. And yeah, and that's what is called investigation, and that's what is called the inquiry, self-inquiry, the famous question, who am I, or what am I, or where am I, or any other versions of it. Those questions are actually memes that kill all the other memes. Those questions are the questions that can kill all the other questions. They can reveal the absence of questioner. They can reveal that the one who is actually looking is the one that is looking for. I mean, looking for the self, the process of looking, the movement of attention turning back on itself, it collapses the duality. I put it on you now?
Just I'll hold it a minute.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Kat. Covered everything just about. It's talking about eternal or eternity. Have we ever questioned that and really looked into it? Eternity, which most of us have taken on the belief of, is some time-bound thing. 1,000,000 light years or 1,000 light years or something like that. You know? I realise eternity has no beginning and no end. It's spontaneous. If it had some beginning and an end, you could say that everything began. But it's all this spontaneous moment. Eternity. And that's what St. Francis told you. He says, it's only by dying I can have eternal life. He says it in the St. Francis prayer. He wasn't talking about carking dying to that physical body or mind, but dying to the now. Dying to that sense of presence. When you're not put any concept of time or any beginning or the end, it's beginningless and endless. And have a look at that. Question yourself and say you began at anywhere at any particular time. We believe we were born, taken on that idea. We believe we're separate. And we've grown into the fact, or it's taken to be a fact, that we are something separate and apart. Because you didn't know anything about it when you were born, when you're in the womb and when you were grown for the first couple of years, until we learnt words. And then everybody around us was reinforcing that. We took on that belief and reinforced that belief ourselves. Purely and simply, it wasn't questioned. Until something in that make-up, the cognising emptiness, or the emptiness is cognising the formless that it's forming, started to recognise there was something beyond the patterns, shapes and forms that couldn't be grasped with a concept, but it couldn't be negated either. And the realisation came about that there's no person that's going to realise, become anything at all, because the person itself is not the reality. It's from a persona, the conceptual image we've taken on. So just a little bit of questioning and looking at that, you see for yourself. And nobody here or anywhere else, whatever you've been told or whatever you believe, is going to do it for you. You might hear the pointers and they might resonate with you and teach you to look, or not teach you, but make you, the resonance, you can't say you do anything, will be to look and see for yourself. In the recognition, recognising what has already been cognised, because you've had taste of it all throughout your life. You might know, why did that happen, or how did that happen, your question. That recognising will start to confirm. There's omnipotence, omnipresence and omniscience, total presence, total power and total intelligence. Not three aspects of the one like Kat was pointing out before, just like steam, water and ice. The three aspects of H2O. Three aspects of the one. And when you look into some of the ancient texts and scriptures that have been put out there, it is only that non-dual one without a second, not two. One without a second. Even one without a second implies that there could be other than one. Well, ask yourself, is there? Is there anything other than one? There seems to be me, there seems to be other than me. Aren't they concepts, words that are picked up along the way? Have you looked at that, investigated? Who is the me for a start? What is the me? Can you find a centre to that you can say this is reality? It just takes a little bit of investigation and looking. And see there's nothing other than this presence awareness, this omnipotence, the total power, the omnipresence, the total presence. Total. Not past, future, not thought power, mind power, or this power, or that power, total. And omniscience. Look at this manifestation. Omniscience is intelligence. Isn't it the same intelligence that's forming galaxies, moving planets around the sun, causing thoughts to come and go, feelings to come and go, Earth to move around the sun? How many powers are there that are doing that? You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to work out it's only the one essence of doing everything. So can the believed in you be anything other than that? So in recognising that, you're going to drop the you or the me and take your stance in the totality, which has always been happening but seemingly missed because of the conceptualising. And they tell you that the great perfection is non-conceptual awareness. And the Sagata tells you the person is not reality. Simple statements. Look into them, question them and see that they're right. And there's nothing outside this presence awareness. And emptiness is form. Isn't that statement right? Because all these pattern, shapes and forms are appearing on that background of stillness and silence, the emptiness. So the forms can be nothing other than the emptiness. And when it's so Sat Chit Ananda Nama Rupa, I am that. The concept I am is that presence awareness and that non-conceptual awareness. So we mouth those words, but seeing that you are that, you've always been that, can be nothing other than that. You're going to continue to question, try and find the answer in the mind when you're told the answer is not in the mind. And it's not this pattern, shape and form is telling you that. Because this pattern, shape and forms knows it never was, never will be, or never could be. And it's talking to other seeming pattern, shapes, and the words are coming out of the mouth. And I know the other pattern, shapes and forms are the same essence that this is. We say there is no one-ended stick, each stick's got two ends to it. There's no one-sided coin. Each coin got two sides to it, heads and tails. Which side do you want to be? Simple statements, but when looked into and registered, they're seen for what they are. And as Kat asked you, and I will say, you've all had glimpses of this, you all have different understandings of it, or what has been recognised up to this stage, or what hasn't been recognised. So don't hesitate to put it out there. Or if there are any doubts, concepts and ideas, put it out the questions. Because, as I say, nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to give it to you. But in recognising, looking at it yourself, questioning yourself, and if you can't answer the question yourself, see if some other pattern, shape and form can deliver the answer that will resonate with you and opening that questioning up. So there it is. And if you haven't got the confidence to speak and ask questions, what are you fearing? What are you ashamed of? What are you unhappy about? What is the lack of confidence there to say, me, I can't say this, I can't think that? Have the confidence to be what you are, and let that confidence grow. And it will grow if it's not confined to the conceptual images, pattern, shapes and forms. The dead images at that, they're all based on past events, conditioning and experiences. What image is there in the presence if you're not conceptualising? No becoming, no wasing or no will being. Just this obvious presence, pre-sense, before any conceptual concepts about that presence are seemingly born on it. The unborn Buddha mind, as they call it. Why exchange the unborn for thought?
Yeah, so what image is there if you're not conceptualizing? He just said it. Well, yeah. You have a look. What image is there if you're not conceptualizing? What are you without the concept? Without the concept, do you even have shape? Do you even have, like you're looking ahead, do you even have legs? Do you even have feet? If you don't take a concept, which is mental image or thought, do you even have the body that is small or big or white or black if you don't have concept? Not only you are not the body, but you don't even have it. You don't even use it without the concept, without the mental image. Do you have the self, or do you have anything at all? Do you have nationality if you don't take up the concept? Do you have sex, male or female or whatever, if you don't take mental image? And see, all those concepts, they come up through conditioning. We were taught, we were brainwashed, we basically acquired them, trusted someone who told us this, and we never questioned. So the non-conceptual awareness the true nature, the natural state, the Buddha nature, or the big mind, or the whatever they call it, is there for taking. If you for a moment, just for the experiment, move away the concepts and the mental images. So the taste of it is there in the absence of disturbance. Then, of course, the mind will show up again, and that's okay. But this moment, when Bob is asking, what's wrong with right now if I don't think about it? You know, there's nothing wrong. You've checked it. There's absolutely nothing ever wrong unless the thought will come and say it is wrong. Not even when we are unwell, sick, puking, whatever. If there is no idea that we shouldn't be doing or being or experiencing what is there, there's no problem. So there's nothing wrong. But it's not only there is nothing wrong without the concept. There's nothing there without the concept. There is nothing here without the concept. Even the world as I see it is senses operated by the mind, interpreted by the mind. So it is all conceptual. The world that we experience is the conceptual world. Doesn't mean that, you know, animals are conceptualizing to a certain extent. They have computers there in the head as well that let them learn certain things and use the memory, and that's a wonderful thing to do. But for the sake of the experiment, moving away concepts for just a moment, mental images and ideas, and experiencing the truth of existence without the distraction that attracts attention elsewhere, and the attention is spent in chasing thoughts, images, or whatever. Experiencing non-distracted, non-meditation, or
undistracted non-meditation.
Oh yeah, or unfixated awareness. Awareness that is not fixated to any of the senses, particularly to thinking. Experiencing the aliveness, the existence, the pure awareness of being, just for a moment. Because later on, of course, the stories will come up, and let them come. Because when this one is fully embraced, that yes, all right, the awareness of being, the pure existence is the screen, then whatever appears on it, it's not that important anymore. It's just a passing phenomena, something that comes and goes. Experience of the body comes and goes. Experience of the emotions come and go. Experience of stories or problems or ideas, they come and go. So they're not ultimate truth, they're just passing phenomena. And I can stay and live from that groundedness of the sense of existence, the pure awareness of being, and enjoy passing phenomena. Enjoy them. Don't give them 100% of attention. Give them 90 at times, or 0 at times. Just let them pass as clouds. And of course, I'm not doing any of it. Certain persistent ideas, like everybody is conditioned to resonate with particular ideas. Most of the bodies are, before the investigations, are conditioned to resonate with the ideas of inferiority, insecurity, and unworthiness, unlovability. So those ideas are very they feel very personal and they feel very familiar. But even after investigations, there will be ideas that are persistent and they will be stealing the show. And there's nobody there to actually own it or not own it. Like certain patterns, smoking cigarettes in Nisargadatta, certain patterns of the language, of vocabulary, certain attractions and repulsions to different things. But when all those patterns are just appearance on the screen, the suffering is gone. So that's the investigation, to actually realize that whatever is appearing on the screen is just appearance. To realize that thinking is thinking, emotions are emotions, stories are stories, and I am the screen. I am the awareness of being. I am unaffected by anything that appears. Like you have the screen and there is a shooting or bombing happening on the screen. Screen is not going to be touched. It's not damaged by it. So abiding in a state of awareness of being that screen is the ultimate freedom from the stories, from which stories can still be enjoyed. Did you want to? I'll hold it.
Yeah, hold it.
You'll put it down.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say, but anyway. Yeah, everybody here, as I say, have got the chance to speak up right now. When the meeting closes or when you go away, all the chatter in the world will come up then. Why don't you bring it out right now? And it'll strengthen it within you, bringing it out with somebody that might dare to pull you apart or not or whatever. Nasaka Daddy used to put me out the front, in front of all these people, and punish the shit out of me. When I'd come up with some beautiful answers, which I'd picked up from different programs and all the rest, I'd realise the truth, that wasn't good enough. No matter how profound or deep it was, it still wasn't good enough. Kicked it all out and left me without any concepts whatsoever. Kicked everyone out. Though I thought every concept, and I thought it was a bad thing, it proved out to the best thing in the lot. Because I can't get away from the fact now that I am no thing. And all of you patterns, I know that you are, even I might question you, argue it and tell you this, that, you are no thing also. Because it is the no thing that's patterning, shaping and forming as everything. No doubt. If you've got anything to say or anything to do, bring it out where you've got people following to hear instead of arguing amongst yourselves or putting on something another idea. Or got any doubts or fears or any anxiety or stress at all that's stopping you from seeing it. Don't hesitate to bring it out. And some of you might simply be very profound and know a lot more than what you realise.
That's a good idea. Just tell us what you understand.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good beginning.
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
But something's there. Something's resonating.
Like,
Something's moving.
Even this idea that I don't know, start from that.
yeah, I think that maybe there's beliefs that you don't know you have.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Beliefs that you don't know you have.
Mm-hmm.
We're watching, what were you watching? Watching something on YouTube.
Stephen Malinsky.
Yeah, Stephen Malinsky, and he said he was with someone who. How did we talk? He was with one of his teachers, and this thought come up about himself, and it was so horrible. I don't even want to say it, but it was like the thought that come up was like, "I'm sorry, I am," and that it would like his teacher took it away from him, and then when he said that, this overwhelming like rush come over me where I was like, had such a reaction to it, and I was like, I think I believe that. Like, it was this really like thing I didn't know that I thought.
Well, what was that? Wasn't it a resonation with what was being said, something inside you?
Yeah, I just got super emotional, and I was like, wow. Like my heart started racing, and I couldn't talk properly, and I was like, that's really horrible thought, but I didn't even know I thought that. So it's a really like strange reaction. And then you were talking, and I just got the reaction again.
Moves you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Into the unknown.
Yeah, because I think I realised something yesterday. I was walking home from Coles, and I caught myself in a thought, and I was actually having a conversation with like my school teacher, because I'm still studying, and I was explaining myself to her. I was like, oh, I'm sorry this, and like, you have to do this, and I was almost defending myself in this pretend conversation I was having, that some future pretend conversation. So like, I'm constantly, I've noticed it like 4 or 5 times since then, like I'm constantly justifying myself in my thoughts, but they're like real scenarios, but they're not happening. So I spend all this time justifying my existence
So
to people that I'm not even having the conversation with them.
You don't
So,
justify anything because you know.
It's just strange. So I put it out there, so it's like, okay, I've said it. So
Everybody does it unless they stop. Because innately down in your heart, you know you are completely innocent in everything you do because you are not the doer. So if anyone is actually is telling you that you are doing something wrong, or you should apologize for your existence, you should be sorry you exist, you should be pleasing people, this is really a conditioning. Down deep in your heart, you know that whatever you do your best, you're completely innocent.
I'm just a very defensive person, I think.
Everybody is. Everybody who... Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm like, and I get real agitated, and so agitated by... I'm agitated by my own thoughts about this pretend scenario.
When you think you're separate, you need to defend yourself.
Like when I was meditating a couple of weeks ago, I had this like raw emotion come up where I was like I wasn't crying, but it was like this gut, like, ugh, like crying almost. I don't even know how to explain it, but it was like, it felt painful, but it didn't feel painful because there was no story at all. It was just like this like movement of, and I was like, I recognized the feeling, but because I didn't have a story to attach to it, it was just like, oh, that was like not like something's come up there, but I don't know what it was.
Amazing.
It just felt like energetic, and I was like, oh, purged it, and then I was like, whatever that was, I don't even want to know because
don't even try to make a story about it. Don't kill it.
Felt like it felt like it was bad, but it wasn't bad. So.
So that story that you picked up on, that was that you caught in.
Oh, yeah.
You caught yourself defending yourself against, I think you said, a teacher.
It's just like explaining why I need to, like,
Fine.
Explain
I'm
myself.
very strong in that same
Fine.
page.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
But I never knew I did it, ever. I've never ever realised that until...
They're not being heard.
Look, I find it's like I'm rehearsing what to say.
I was
That's what you're
rehearsing
doing.
it.
You're rehearsing
When
what
you're
to say.
rehearsing it, I was feeling the emotion of what they, in my head, the reaction they're going to have. And then by the time I have the conversation with them, if they react the way I've been rehearsing and I've been defending against, then I'm like, I can't believe I have to explain this again. But I've never even said it to them.
Yeah.
The important thing is there something has been revealed.
Yeah.
Take it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because almost everyone does it almost all the time, and people are not aware that they have this inner dialogue in their head.
Yeah.
Now at least you know, so you can see it more often. And don't punish yourself for it. Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm trying not to say, like, I'm not trying to repress the thought. I'm just like, I think as soon as I notice it, it stops anyway. I'm like, oh.
That's exactly right.
And then it's like...
You just see it more. And
Attention goes out of it.
Like 3 times today I noticed it. I was like, well, that's interesting.
We'll lose its power.
Okay, look.
Highlights.
What everyone has said here is spot on. Okay. Now, why you're suffering in relation to that dialogue that goes on between you and a teacher, for argument's sake, okay? And you see it, and you kind of, and it might even be interpreted as, like that dialogue might be interpreted as, you know, I really need to think this through so that I can take a stand, so I can really hold my ground and defend myself. Yeah. Okay. So the reason that there's suffering whilst that dialogue is taking place is because that entity that's there, okay, and I'm going to call that you, that me, okay, that entity that is there, or seemingly there, let's get accurate, okay, seemingly there, that is in communication with this teacher, who's not even present anymore, but still there's a dialogue that's going on, yeah? That entity that is there, that is in dialogue with that teacher, is nothing but thoughts. Now, now look, you're going to have to hear, I don't know how many times you'll have to hear it. I had to hear it a lot of fucking times. God, I've got to stop swearing. I had to hear it a lot of times before it really started to dawn on me. But I had to hear it time and time and time again. I had to hear that, you know. Now, here's what's been pointed out here. Whilst that was going on for you, whilst that was going on, yeah, you were aware of it. You were aware, you could hear your dialogue that was going on, whatever it was doing, whatever stand it was taking against a so-called teacher, yeah, you could hear it. You were aware of it. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Like, fully aware of it, okay? The problem is, instead of abiding in that awareness that is aware of it, we abide in the character that we're hearing, the me character that's going on in the head. And as a result of that, you suffer because it's that whatever that me character is saying, you take it on and it'll manifest in the body and it'll be experienced as a feeling. Oh, it's an energy, but then we name the bloody thing, which makes it worse. Okay? So, even that character, that you character, that you believe is you, and you totally do, please don't tell me you don't, because I know you do, because you're suffering as a result of it. Yeah, that dreamed character, that character that comes up, is completely, and I mean this purely, okay, absolutely, okay. That dreamed character that comes up is completely 100% impersonal. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. It is not you. It is not you saying this stuff. It's not you. But we, as Kat started this group beautifully, yeah, we believe it's me. And it's just a friggin' belief. The whole idea about coming here is to really, truly investigate, and look past all our belief systems. Okay? And every person sitting in this room that still feels like they're stuck in that me presence or that self-identity, it's only because you believe it. It's not an actual fact. It's not a fact. Be like you. It'd be like this, okay? You're asleep at night, you're on your bed, you're dreaming, okay? Whatever the dream is, okay? Whatever the dream is, and there's you, the character in the dream, and you're experiencing whatever, okay? And then you wake up from the dream in the morning and continue on as that character that was in the dream. Give me a break. Would you do that?
No, but I have woken up sometimes pissed off about it.
I'm not. I'm
about something he hasn't even done. But I know, yeah.
Stay with me.
Like,
Stay with me.
Yeah.
Would you continue on when you woke up in the morning?
No.
From that, why not?
Because I know it to be a dream. Yeah. I know.
And it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. There's that character again.
Yeah.
There's that character right there again. It pops like, oh no, I should get it, and I can't get it. Oh.
Bob has something to say.
Yeah.
Terry's pointing out belief. Take the definition of belief in your dictionary. Unquestioned acceptance of something in the absence of reason. So if we haven't questioned it or tried to reason out, acceptance of an alleged fact, things we've taken on board, without positive knowledge or proof. Put it to that test and see what beliefs will stand up to.
And the biggest belief that causes conflict is the belief in the me.
Yeah.
And that's what Bob's been pointing out tonight so clearly, and Kat's been pointing out, and Terry's been pointing out that me is just a thought.
And there's
doesn't
some beliefs
exist.
that are easy to drop because you know.
Yeah,
that
but the primary,
they're kind of
sure, but
ridiculous
their belief about things. Your primary belief you've got to drop is that you are.
Yeah.
Everything else falls away.
Everything. Once you recognise that, all the other stuff just drops off. You don't have to be trying to let go of that belief and let go of that belief. Oh, I've seen through that belief. Man, who's having the beliefs in the first place? Who or what is having the beliefs in the first place? That needs to be investigated. But look, I just want to say, don't lose heart. Don't think I'm having a go at you.
Oh, I don't
Great,
do that at
great,
all.
because I'm totally not.
I like it.
I'm totally not. Look, what happens at the beginning, at the very beginning of this investigation, looking for, okay? What happens is the me, your character, okay, that you believe yourself to be, is so close, and it operates so quickly. It's just bang, and it's like there, and it's there, and it's there, and it's thinking this, and I am this, and and a feeling will come up, and it happens so fast, and it's so close that we can't often see it.
Yeah.
Often we just can't see it. That's the trap. We can't actually see it.
And it tells me things I don't believe too. Like I was walking to school the other day, and this sounds so horrible, but okay, you guys know that it's not my thoughts, so that's fine. This guy was behind me, and this thought come into my head, oh, I have an aversion to older men. And I went, like, I caught that as well, and I was like, no, I don't. Like, I answered it back, and then it goes, oh yeah, but you do. And then I just went, fuck off. And I kept walking, but I was like, it was that was the first thought I caught, and I didn't mean to. It's just I went, that's not true.
Okay, so look.
So I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's great.
so many lies.
See how much you're aware of.
Look,
But the biggest lie is that you had a
So there's, that I had a thought.
look. Try this on, all right? Just try it on. I don't know if you're able to do this. Give it a shot, all right? Just imagine, because you're going to have to imagine, right? That every single solitary thought, everything that arises in you, even over just the next 30 seconds, let's say, okay? Every single solitary thing that arises in you, all of a sudden, changes to Chinese language. Stay with me on that. Completely, and I'm assuming you don't speak Mandarin or, right? So it just completely changes to a Chinese, there's just Chinese dialogue going in there. Then nearly said it again, then where would you be? Where would you be then? And I'm serious when I ask that question. Only Chinese going on in there. Not even a you there that's still able to understand that, I speak English. That's Chinese. Like what? Otherwise you'd still be there if there was that going on. I mean, everything that was happening in you was all in Chinese. Then where would you be? What problem would you have? Other than not understanding anything. Like not understanding...
Except the truth of your own existence.
Yeah, just be an experience from start.
Bob wants to say something.
Taking the meaning out of the words, what are they? They're just noise, sound. It's just same as Chinese, What do you know?
That's the point I'm trying to make. Yeah. We attribute meaning. We literally attribute meaning to certain sounds. And they're just sounds.
When they have your voice.
Yeah, but,
it's very convincing.
But that's what I'm saying before. But that's what I was trying to say to you before. It's not your voice.
There's no you.
It's completely... I'm not saying there's no thoughts. It's clearly there are.
Thoughts.
Okay? But they're completely impersonal. They just arise and then we identify with it and go, that's me. I'm having that thought. I'm having that judgment about old guys or whatever it was that you said, right? But it happens so quickly.
No offence, Bob.
It happened.
That's what I'm sitting here, laughing.
Yeah. So look. All I would say.
You're bad at me.
Yeah, you're right.
All I would say at this stage is just keep being. Try. There's no one there to try. However, I'm going to use that terminology anyway. Yeah, just at least try to start. Just start to become aware that your identity, and that all comes up from your thoughts, yep. And then any argument that your identity might be having with another thought, because that's all that's happening, by the way, in your head, you've got two thoughts about your teacher or old guys or whatever, and the other pattern of reality is it's just two patterns of thoughts going at each other. And you think
that's
you're...
the sneaky one, because even the thought of me going, that's not true, is not me as well.
Correct.
Yes. Right?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the tricky one. Because
Yeah.
the one that's not negative.
Beautiful. That's what I meant
It's
by...
harder to spot.
That's what I meant by it's really close. And it's hard to see it. It's really hard. It's easy to see. Initially easy to see the thoughts that are coming and going. Even that at the beginning can be hard because we wear it like we literally wear it, whatever it is that I'm thinking I am, you know. But if you come here for a while and start to investigate, you start to see that there's a thought process that just happens by itself.
Yeah.
It's not you there.
Yeah, because otherwise you go, oh, that was a negative thought, and you go, I'm so good for picking that up.
Yes.
That's not even me, right?
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah.
but you know what? But you know what? To start with, that's a lot better than where you than just being it and not even being able to pick it up.
I don't want self-help.
No.
I'm not interested in it. I don't care.
Good.
I
Just
didn't even want spirituality, but it bit me in the face. And
Okay.
so it's like, okay.
So it's really just a matter of, and it happens by itself via being aware of what is actually happening. And the only way you can be aware of what is actually happening is to see it. Then it becomes real. You see it. You know. You know. Otherwise, you're going to just you'll walk out of here with a heap of concepts and beliefs and go, oh, yeah, that was interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You kind of need to see it. So from this point forward, as you're moving forward in life, just at least start to become aware of the fact that there is no thinker. There is no you doing any thinking. And I mean nothing. Zip. Absolutely zip. It just arises. Thoughts just arise.
Do you choose to think a thought, or does the thought appear upon you? That was a good old one that we used.
And thoughts do just appear. There's no thinker there. And so you just start to at least see that. Just start to see that. Okay? And you'll find that if you keep that up for a while, you'll start to get a bit of distance. A little bit of distance starts to get created. There's still a me here. I don't want you to be fooled by that. There's still a me here, right? And there's distance being created, but there's still a me here that's going, I can see it. And this me is that real close one that I'm talking about. And it's the last one to be seen, by the way. And it's the hardest, but it's the last one to be seen. But if you can at least start getting some distance around it, that I'm not any of that content of thought that's arising in the mind, then because that's really noisy and it's really busy and it's really conceptual and it's full of beliefs, all sorts of beliefs. When you at least get to the point where you see for yourself all that's impersonal, it just comes and goes all of itself. Okay, then you'll start to recognise there's still a me here that now knows that.
That's big.
It
looking at things.
It now knows that. But that me here that's sitting here, listen, that me here that's sitting there, okay, that in the end goes, yeah, I see that. I'm none of that. It's quite empty in terms of any conceptual ideas or beliefs, but it still bloody feels like it's here.
This brings me about what I want to talk about.
Great.
Yeah.
Is the difference between what you may call, I guess, witnessing consciousness, which still has a very subtle sense of locality and meanness to it, very subtle, and pure awareness.
So ask the question again, because I said it was half a comment. Ask it again.
The difference between that witnessing consciousness
Yep.
and pure awareness, basically.
Do you want to tackle that, or I'm happy to, but
There's no such thing as a witness.
Let him
Believe, but it seems to be, again, like there seems to be a me. There's no such thing as the me. And Tennyson told you, she said, Terence telling you it's very close. He says it's closer than your breathing, nearer than your hands and feet. It's the closest. It's prior to that believed in me, even, you know. And Walt Whitman tells you, these are just ordinary people. Tells you, I'm not contained between my hat and my boots. There is no centre anywhere that can attribute this as me.
So if you experience witness and you think there is something separate as a witness, it means there is a subtle belief there. So that belief also, you can always very easily actually discover or discard the witness if you ask, how is the witness known? Who is knowing about the witness? And then, you know, actually locating it. Where is the witness looking from? If the witness is looking from my shoulder or somewhere, and then how do I know it is in my shoulder? Where am I looking from? Am I looking from maybe behind or in front?
So there's an awareness too that there's, how do you say it, a perceiver of both witness and witnessed.
Yes, everything is known.
There's another step back, which is kind of sensed, for lack of a better word. But
And that's
it can't be known.
That's that really super close, subtle me that's still there. And it needs to be, and it's got to be owned. You got to own it. You got to get honest and go, yeah, you know, regardless of what spews out of my mouth, and in terms of how flowery I can talk about non-duality, the reality is, really, if I get real honest, and I don't want to get honest because, you know, I've got this big front going on, right? It's true. I went through that. I totally went through that.
I know.
Yeah. You've got to, look, and I keep saying this, you've got to be deadly honest. Like really honest, you know. It was driving me nuts here at the beginning of this meeting because Bob on two occasions said, if anyone's got any questions, and everyone kind of just sits there, and I wanted to stand up and jump up and down in the middle of the room and go, for fuck's sake, wake up and ask some questions.
You for real?
Yeah. get real, get honest.
I don't have any. It just comes and it goes.
Yeah, then if you don't, great. Like, great if you don't. Awesome. But I'll bet there's some in the room that have got questions. And it was verified. They were asked.
But what works for me for that one, essentially, for me, you are already, that was a, what's here if I'm not thinking about it, and then there'd be another question, is there location here? And then that's when that would drop off.
I think that's onto it. I think, yeah, there's
And
a sense
just
just turning around and looking for that point that thinks it's there, kind of thing, like
Why didn't you do
that
that?
sense
It's
of a
like-
point. I need to turn around and
Why did I sort of stop before that happened?
That's
And then there's no
close.
location.
Drives me
So
nuts.
if you,
It's,
so if you don't even allow, for me, I mean, it seems to be a bit different from everybody else. No one else seems to really like. It's a curiosity thing, but for me, it was like when the notion of and location went. There was just like the sensations in the room. Nothing's going on, and it's like that thought didn't come in. And there's a perspective this must be looked from. That it didn't get to that point, so it just jumps over. And first there was probably a relocation, and then and what about location, and then there's just
when I had my
you know, and then it comes in again.
when I had a big falling away, and when my personal self did completely fall away, there was no location or anything. Then it was complete, and then over time, you know, mind kind of reconstructed itself again. A much nicer mind, but still there nevertheless. And so now I'm kind of in this place where it's kind of like there's this other dimension of being that's opened up, this more like spacious, silent, but I still know that isn't it either, because it's a kind of a dualistic thing between like, here's thought, me, and here's this silent space, but
Another
there's a
concept.
seeming separateness there, but yeah.
But the knowingness.
Can anybody ever find a static point?
Give me
Say there's a point, but is there such a thing?
say it again.
No.
Bert.
Anybody find a static point anyway? So when it's a subtle thing to say it's the last thing to go, at least at a static point me. There's no point. How can there be any point in non-duality when it's one without a second, not even two? Can there be any self-nature to anything? The point or the self-nature would be a separation.
you said about I'm not contained between my hat and my boots, that was just so profound.
It is.
I just,
Walt Whitman.
I love Walt Whitman. Yeah, no, that says it all,
That's
really.
very no location, isn't it?
Mm.
No location.
And also, when you were saying that you are actually aware of that space playing out and personality playing out, you are the awareness of both of them. So you are awareness of the duality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I've noticed too is that for me personally, and I don't exist as a person, there's two types of questions I find when I'm at these meetings, and there's the question that I want to ask, and I'll think about it, and people will be talking, and I'll be waiting for the silence where I can ask that question. But usually it's a superficial question. It's not really something that important. And then there's a second type of question where I'll just come out with something. It will be a very deep question, and I think to myself, where did that come from? And that's something I didn't really, it never actually, never entered my consciousness to actually ask that, but
It's just spontaneously came.
and it actually meant something.
Yeah.
But you might start with the superficial and go deeper.
Yeah, that's
That's right.
That's so important to get
Yeah.
all the superficial stuff out. Anything, like anything. And that's what I meant by being honest. It can be difficult to do that. But you know,
another aspect is that a lot of people here are paralyzed by shyness or fear. I was like this, and I was grateful for anyone who would ask superficial, no matter how idiotic question, because that was my question too. So you may come up with the superficial question and be at service, a great service to someone. Also people who are watching us from Europe.
Because I find when you're at that superficial question I was talking about is that you become self-conscious of this body and who you think you are. Whereas when the natural question comes out, there's no self-consciousness, there's no self-centered. It seems to be, and you think to yourself, because if Bob said,
take credit for it.
and how you say, are you the author of the thought? And you can also say no, because I just don't know where it came from.
Exactly.
So recognise that and try and relax back into that part of thing. The thoughts come up.
I think people in the zone being creative, that's what it's like. You know? You're just real recognition of only spontaneous from nowhere.
and if that self-conscious state arises, bear it. Bear it. Like really, bear it. Totally bear it. Be out there with it.
I have no choice.
Well, you do.
Yes.
You do. Well, you do actually. You can kind of go, oh, no, you can't, no, you can't go there.
But he doesn't, because
But
it
it
just
sounds like a
comes
spontaneous
out.
Sure,
one just come
sometimes.
out. That's what
And
he's
that's-
saying though. The
that's
spontaneous one,
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
It's not got that aspect. Yeah.
Sure, but there's but you
The
gave
other
two
ones.
you gave two examples. Yeah, one is that and one is that. The one that gets scared and wants to withhold, that's the one. That's the one that you need to bring out into the light.
I'll ask him next time.
Yeah. and look, just one, and I'll shut up in a second. It's pouring out of me at the moment. That experience that you had, okay, and your current direct experience, living here right now, sitting in that chair, okay, and I don't doubt for a second that you would acknowledge that there's, even though I've had this experience and I see this and I understand that, there kind of still feels like an entity here.
Most definitely.
Okay, all right. So that you're currently experiencing in terms of that entity that you're experiencing sitting in that chair right now, okay? That entity that you're experiencing now, how different is that entity or your awareness of it, yeah, or the flavour of it compared to what it was like 20 years ago? And I mean that literally, like 20 years ago. How different is it?
Not as far as the actual awareness in which it appears, basically. It's if I get what you're asking.
Would it be fair to say 20 years ago you weren't even aware that self-identity was a dream? Fair call?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the difference now? What's the difference now compared to then? Because you've had a few experiences and a few insights. So, sitting there in that chair now, what's the difference now? What is it? Honestly, Like, honestly. Honestly.
I'm not exactly sure what you're pointing at. Like, as far as the
All right.
difference in what part of myself. Like, yeah.
Okay, all right. Look, from what you're describing, from what you've been describing, okay, it sounds like you're at a point that, I know there's no points, but you're in a place, and there's no places either.
We won't be led by the police.
It's all
like,
good and Gary.
I'm just having fun at the moment. It sounds to me like you're quite close to that point that I was talking about before, where that I've seen a lot, but there's kind of still this me here, and it's really, really quite close. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you another question. And I don't want you to answer this from what you've learnt from either being around here or being involved in any non-duality stuff or any spirituality stuff, okay? Just want you to answer it honestly, right? Does that sense of me feel real and here? Yes or no?
The beingness aspect of it does.
Right.
Not the mental, not
Stop.
emotional,
Stop.
just
Look, gotcha. It's a yes or no answer. It really is. It's either yeah, it does, or no, it's not here. Right? Okay. Why do you think it feels so real? Why does it feel so real?
because it is. Because it is.